Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. You guys have seen this shadow box before. We recently talked about this bait up here, my first double digit. You've also heard Tim and I talk about our 15 and 17 pounders. You know, we really didn't realize how important those stories were until we started getting your feedback in the comments here on YouTube and realizing how much impact those experiences really have, not only on our own fishing, but the impact that they can have on other people when we tell them. So we're gonna continue telling some of these big fish stories. Like I said, you've seen this shadow box before. You've heard this one. This one over here, this was a night fish, almost a teener. This was actually my second double digit, and that story, that's another disaster, man. This is another 12 pounder from shore. This one down here, the biggest limit of my life. But tonight, I'm gonna tell you about this one. If you guys wanna hear one of these other stories, down in the comments, tell us which one you wanna hear, because we are periodically here on the channel gonna tell you some of these stories of these big fish from the past, whether those fish are a month ago or 10 years ago, but I think we can all learn a lot from them. So tonight, we're gonna talk about this one. This right here, this is a 6-inch Matt Lures. Not a bait that I created, just happened to have the same name. But that's a Matt Lures Tournament Series swim bait. I'll give you a link to that down in the video description, but let's jump right into that story. That fish was a high 11, almost 12 pounds. What went on that night was crazy. We were night fishing. Tim and I were out on Clear Lake, and it started, you know, like any other night. We were just out chucking big baits, trying to get a big bite, seeing what would happen, seeing if we could find a good fish. We were running spots. We pulled up to a spot that I rank my spots. So I have what I call like A spots, B spots, C spots. My A spots are like my spots that I know I can always go to and get a big bite, at least in theory. So we pulled up to this place that I would call a C spot. It's a spot that's still worth stopping on, but it doesn't always work out. But it's worked out enough times that you have to try it. So we pulled up on this spot. I was throwing an 8-inch Huddleston at the time. That's where this story starts. I've got that bait on a swim bait rod, fire it up on this point, and I throw it way up shallow, up into like 2-3 feet of water. This bait hits bottom, I engage the reel, and in our other videos, you know, we just did that swim bait rigging video. And in that video, we made mention of jig hooks bending out on some of the big baits. And it's funny because when we're talking to you guys in video and we just make mention like, you know, these jig hooks used to bend out, you don't know that there's stories behind that, right? But we do. We know that there's been times where we've bent out and lost giant fish, and this was one of those times. So I fired up on this point, bait hits the bottom, and I start that just super slow crawl. And I don't make it like 2 feet, and I get rocked. Now, sometimes when you get bit at night, you'll get like a dink, and that's it. And they have sucked that bait in. This time, it was like somebody hit me in the face with a hammer. I mean, she hit that thing so hard. I cracked this fish, and as soon as I locked up on her, I knew something was wrong. I mean, it was a big fish. I'm throwing 8-foot swim bait rod, 80-pound straight braid, no leader, 80-pound to the bait. And I just start grinding, but I realize real fast, I'm not grinding. I'm just trying to keep up. This fish is like a bullet going to deep water past the boat. She came out so fast, I'm just staying with her and gone. It was in an instant. Cracked this giant, line starts going, and she's off. I'm looking at Tim in the dark. He's looking back at me like, what just happened? I reel that thing up, get my HUD, and that jig hook is just popped. Just totally folded out. She completely bent that thing out. I was so bummed. So cut that bait off, throw that bait down, dig out another Huddleston. Tie that one on. Stand back up. Same lineup. Fire it up there into the shallows. Start that creep. Thunk. Same thing. I hit that fish so hard, cracked that fish, and nothing happens. And I mean nothing. My rod is just folded. I'm trying to grind and I'm going nowhere, and she just shakes her head. Two hard shakes. I try to grind, 2 hard shakes, gone. It happens, man. It happens to everybody. It doesn't matter if it's your first swimbait fish or your 1000th swimbait fish. Sometimes they come off. So I reel up, I look at my HUD, and this time nothing's wrong. She just came off. So I think I made a 3rd cast, don't get bit. I'm like, dude, I need to clear my head. We got to go somewhere else. So we make a run. We go to another spot, fish that spot, never get bit. So I'm thinking, all right, let's go back. So Tim and I shoot back down there. We line back up. Now I picked up a different bait. I tied on the mat lures, just show them a different presentation, a little bit smaller bait. Thought maybe they'd choke it deeper. Fire that bait up there. Start that slow crawl. Sure enough, another one just cracks it. I stick this fish. She starts coming at me just like any other fish. Tim's like, do you need a net? I'm like, yeah, I need a net, but it's nowhere near as big as the others. Crank, 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 into the net. Easy. Comes right to the boat. We pull this fish in and we're like, oh, well, that's a big one. 11.8 pounds, comes straight to the net. No problems. Now she did jack that hook a little bit. You can see that too. They were pulling hard that night. She kind of folded that hook up. But I would love to know how big that freak of nature was that went to, it felt like I hooked an otter straight to deep water and bent that hook like it never even happened and just kept right on going. And then to turn around and stick one almost 12 and have it come to the net like it's nothing. Those are those fish that keep you coming back for more. I have no idea how big that fish was. Maybe someday I'll get to tangle with her again. I don't know, but that's why we keep fishing. Hope you guys enjoyed hearing that one. We'll tell you some more. Down there in the comments, I'll give you links to that bait, some of the gear we used, but also down there in those comments, tell us which videos you want to hear and we'll do more of these. We'll talk to you soon.